Hi everybody, back at this. Yep. I want to talk about something that's going on between males and females. Especially the black American male and female, the native African male and female. Yes. What's going on between us? This might be a long video, by the way, because I have a lot to say about it. I've been watching these videos and I'm late watching a lot of these newer videos because 10-15 years ago I started watching a lot of videos, learning a lot of different perspectives, and it burns you out. So I took a long break, and now I've been playing catch up, and I've been looking at a lot of stuff going on now in current events. And this gender war thing is really serious. Now let me say this before I get into this. If you notice, I've been making these videos without any kind of real Hollywood type introduction, no editing, just raw videos, unedited. And I'm not the best of speakers. I stumble over words. I may say something, and if you don't get the gist of what I'm saying, if you're looking at how I say it, then you don't need to be looking at this video. If you don't get my message, then it's not time for you to get my message, and you're just wasting your time. So don't go in on me about, hey, he should be editing this video, or he should have a better backdrop, or he should spruce up his videos a little bit more. I don't care about that. I'm not concerned about how things look in the background, or that I'm sitting here all the time with a t-shirt on. What I'm more wanting you to see is my point and my perspective. I seek to come to you with facts and common sense. I don't throw a lot of statistics out there. I don't, have these video clips and these pictures of what I'm talking about. I'm quite sure when I mention something, you're going to know what I'm talking about, because you're out there looking at all these clips and movie clips and video clips and pictures, and I'm saying this for everybody, people who are making videos about what's going on in the world, the current events, as far as certain subjects are concerned. My videos it's outlining the overall umbrella of why these things are going on. And like I said before, I don't see too many people looking at it from this perspective. A lot of videos are explaining what's going on. A lot of videos are giving their opinion about how to solve it. But until you look at it for what it really is, get down to the nuts and bolts, to the root of the problem. Like they say, if you get bad fruit, you look inside the fruit. If the problem is not in the fruit, you look at the branches of the tree. If the problem's not in the branches, you look at the trunk. And if there's no problem with the trunk, you look at the roots. And if there's no fault in the roots, you look at the soil. So I'm down in the soil, in the dirt. That's where I'm coming from. So moving right along. This is mostly, like I said, for the black American, the African American. I see there's a big hatred now between a lot of black sisters and black men. And I'm going to say black sisters and black men because I use the term Nubian on somebody else's video. I commented on it and somebody said Nubia is a country in Africa. There's no country in Africa called Nubia. If you don't know what a Nubian is, that's probably your problem. They went out and said they went so far to say that all they do is watch videos and smoke weed. And I wanted to respond by saying, well, Your Highness, and I'm quite sure this was a guy, I said that because they're high all the time, Your Highness, and then correct them and explain that I used the term European. They even commented about me using the term European. European means anyone who comes from Europe. Nubian is a term that I use to describe people who are from the continent of what we refer to now as Africa. But moving right along, there's a big hatred I see now between black women and black men. Now, I'm going to take us back for a minute. If you're my age, and I'm 60, you should remember when the TV in America went off at 12 o'clock midnight, they played the national anthem and the TV signed off. On TV, when TV was on, when they had their programming during the day, up until 12 o'clock midnight, they were showing more romantic movies. Now, you would see gangster movies and cowboy movies. I'm talking about way before the term action movie. You'd see gangster movies and cowboy movies, but there was always this big romantic scene. And I'm not talking about what ethnicity. We all know that African Americans or black Americans didn't have that many movies in mainstream Hollywood coming out on the big screen. But anyway, there was much more romance coming out of Hollywood. I mean, even when it wasn't a gangster or a cowboy movie or some type of war movie, there were a lot of movies that were romance, that fell under the romance genre. So you fast forward to today and you have all these action movies. Now, what did these romance movies do to the society? They made them more loving. The society was a lot more loving. Remember, you could walk down the street and say, "What's happening, brother? What's happening, sister?" Marvin Gaye even made a song called "What's Happening." So the movies that we were watching, the media, how they had everyone, the psychology behind that strategy they were using to keep everybody loving. I don't know if they even realized back then, because remember, before TV was radio, everybody would gather around the radio and listen to these shows or programs that they were broadcasting. So TV came about, and now people had the opportunity to see visual along, but audio and video weren't together. You had to read subtitles when you watched television until they got to the point where they had the audio and the visual together. But anyway, you could imagine that all those romance movies that they were showing back in the day was causing the society to be a bit more loving and caring about one another, especially among the black man and black woman. Even before the TV, black men and black women were more loving towards one another, a lot more loving towards one another. We didn't complain about a lot of stuff that we complain about now. I can even remember sporting my afro. I didn't complain about my afro was unmanageable and I got tired of it. I was proud of my afro. I had the big Michael Jackson afro, just like a lot of young men back then had the big Michael Jackson afro. Sisters had their big afros like Angela Davis, and no one really complained. And then here comes Afro Sheen. Little by little, it went from hot pressing comb with grease on the stove to now we have these chemicals. Well, back then they had the chemicals. The brothers was using lye. You probably seen that in the movie Malcolm X, where they were perming their hair. We call it perm now, or process back then. Conking their hair up. So we had more unity back then. What happened? What happened to that unity? Well, let me explain. Like I've been saying in my videos, it's another war strategy. Now, on a side note, even among Europeans, they were more harmonious towards one another back then. Nowadays, in 2018, you see them fighting more now than you've ever seen them fighting over petty stuff. Oh, they're getting ready to go to war with each other. Yes, that's how it always starts. Look at the pattern of behavior. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican or a leftist or a rightist. All that nonsense is like saying West Coast, East Coast rap battles. They do that for the public. They do that as a distraction. Behind closed doors, they're shaking each other's hand because they know they got the masses of people fooled. Politics is to fool you. Period. What I don't understand, on another side note, is how can you listen to someone tell you that they're going to do this, they're going to do that. These politicians who run for these offices, they always, in their campaigns, promise you things. Then once you elect them, and this is a pattern of behavior again, this is not my idea, this is not my opinion. This is something you can observe if you observe it over time. They'll promise you things, they'll tell you they're going to do this, that, this, that, this, that. Soon as they get in office, they only do about a quarter of what they said they were going to do. And that to me shows that they're liars. Yes, they're liars. So my question is why you keep voting for liars? It almost seems like you want somebody to lie to you. That's a psychological disorder. Moreover, you have to admit, come on, let's be real, let's keep it like y'all young people say, let's keep it 100. You've become a masochist. Yes, you like pain. It's somewhere subconsciously you enjoy being lied to, you enjoy being mistreated, you enjoy physical and psychological, mental pain, spiritual pain now. So let me get back. So among black people, we were more in harmony. Even Europeans were more in harmony. So what happened? I'm going to tell you what happened. The powers that be, those few families that I mentioned before, and if you up on your knowledge, you know what families I'm talking about. I'm not mentioning no names. I want to make a few more videos before I disappear. They have driven a wedge in between us, the genders, to further their agenda. And it's working. Look at it. Perfect war strategy. Got some of you, a lot of you, millions of you at each other's throats. Males and females. Now this is mostly for the black woman. Black women, y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. Really. Now, I know a lot of men have mistreated, black men have mistreated black women. I know this. I've watched it. I have never done it, but I've seen it and I know it's there. But a lot of you black women ain't looking at the why black men have done this. You're not seeking to fix it. All you're doing now is talking bad about it. You're complaining about it. Most of you are not even offering any solutions. You're doing just what the Willie Lynch speech is saying that we do. You're confirming Willie Lynch. That's what you're doing. Now, I'm a firm believer, I may have mentioned this in a previous video, that I'm a firm believer that the female was first. The black woman was first before the black man. But what you black women have done and what Africans have done over time is we have always, well, not always, there was a point we came to where we saw, can you imagine this? Imagine this. Some Africans had already saw Europeans. We had already gotten conquered. We were in slavery way before they came to America. We were conquered in Africa. So some Africans were sitting around, they were prisoners of war, and the dialogue among them was, oh, I see, maybe if we start to behave like white people, that we'll get better treatment. So fast forward, you got Madam C.J. Walker. Oh, Madam C.J. Walker, there was something wrong with her hair, so she created this method of straightening the hair, which, let's be real, Madam C.J. Walker straightened her hair to fit in with Europeans. Michael Jackson changed his face and his hair to fit in with Europeans. Sisters went from afro to perms to fit in with Europeans. Now you can say, oh, because my hair is more manageable. Go ask your grandmother. If your mother is 60 or over, they'll tell you black people didn't complain about our afros. No, I wish I could grow my hair back. I wish I could get my afro back. And on a side note, what's that football player who started that kneeling on one knee? That dude, he's rocking a serious afro. I love it. That's who we are. Woolly haired people. They made you so ashamed of your woolly hair. If I could, that would be a dream of mine, a bucket list dream, to get my afro back. It took all these years for me to learn about who I really am and what my heritage is, my culture. A lot of you subconsciously that are black Americans, Native Africans, you denounce that. And shame on you Native Africans. Y'all know y'all culture, your language, what tribe you come from, and some of you still wear your tribal marks. But as soon as Europeans come around, you start behaving like Europeans. You ever notice, here's one brainwashing. You ever notice when you got in a corporate environment, mostly you see this. When you standing around, maybe it's like 4 black people standing around talking. As soon as the European walk up, all the attention goes to the European. The European is also brainwashed because they'll walk up to a conversation that 4 or 5 black people are having and just butt right into the conversation. My mother taught me manners. When you see grown folks talking, say excuse me. They don't say excuse me. No, they just butt right into the conversation. That lets me know that you're still under hypnosis. Now, I don't do it. If I'm standing talking to somebody that's black, it could be 1, 2, 3 people, and somebody European walk up, somebody Asian walk up. If they don't say excuse me, I don't even acknowledge them. I do not acknowledge them. It's sad sometimes that I'm talking to some brainwashed black person and they start to acknowledge them and start ignoring me. This is slave mentality. And this is what you should be fighting for, but you shouldn't be fighting Europeans. This comes from within. Yes, this has nothing to do with the European because they don't have shackles on your feet and hands anymore. It's all on your mind. They got barbed wire, big motorcycle chains wrapped around your mind. And it's up to you to break loose. There's no excuses anymore. I think a lot of you black people don't like Ben Shapiro. I kind of like the dude because he's telling the truth. You go to these corporations and you expect them to give you? No, these corporations are going to discriminate against you because you're a POW living in a European society. That's what's going on. And the way that you're trying to take it back is wasting your time. That's wasting your time. Doctor Strange, Dormammu, I come to bargain. And over again. From one generation to the next. So they've driven a wedge in between us. And the black woman, you have all the power on the planet. But the European strategy was to take that away from you and bring you down to their level. Now you're on an animal level, just like them. A lot of Europeans are even seeking to get out of that animal level, while a lot of black women, not all, a lot of black women have been tossed all this material stuff, and now you're lower than some of the Europeans. Brothers already been there and done that. And you know how you can know that as an indicator? How many brothers do you know now with jerry curl in their head? Because the black males been woke up a long time ago. I think that happened back in the 80s. Yep, that happened back in the 80s. Brothers was like, oh, and all of this could be subconscious. Even if I'm jerry curling my hair, I'm still not accepted. So let me change. Let me go back to my natural hair. So now you see a lot of sisters changing their hair into natural, but just because you change your hair natural, that don't mean your mind has changed. Just like I was telling people when I was in Germany, when the wall went down in 90 or 91. Just because the wall went down, the physical wall, doesn't mean that the wall went down in their minds. A lot of them people were stuck over there on the other side of that wall with that were Nazis. When the wall went up, they were Nazis. When the wall went down, they were Nazis. They started bringing that Nazi mentality over to West Germany. And the people that I knew, Germans, wasn't liking that at all, because they knew what was going to happen, and it happened. So black women, y'all have the power, but y'all too busy acting like European women. You're listening to these European women because it's all a tactic. You even got European women among black women now explaining how messed up black men are. And it took me 50, I'm 59 now, will soon be 60 in a few months. It took me 57 years to find out exactly what a female is. A lot of you females talk about you want, and I'm not talking about just black females, I'm talking about all females. Exclude the ones who are not like this, what I'm getting ready to say. A lot of females say they want a good man. Now to me that's a red flag. What you really mean is you want a good man today, but next week that might change. And that's what you females do. Y'all change too much. One minute you want this, the next minute you want that. Now a woman is different. A woman is much different. Just because you got children don't make you a woman. Just because a man is holding down his household don't make him a man. It's his woman that makes him a man. And because a lot of y'all ain't women, you don't have a man. A lot of you have father complex. You want a man like your father. Why didn't you marry your father? Go date your father. If he's such a big example. No. You've forgotten that you're supposed to see. I said this in another video. You're supposed to date this man, not give him the ass until, see, I didn't cuss. Not give him sex until you see his moral, his ethics, his character traits. And then when you do, you talk to him before, like, okay, once you know this is the person, you be like, okay, what about children? See how he feels about that. If he says, I can't have children right now, I'm not financially, then you help him to become financially stable. Because you want this man's children so bad, you want these character traits that's in his DNA. There's a lot of knucklehead guys out there. The Creator just didn't create highly intelligent males. No, the Creator created all type of males with all type of mentalities. Just like the Creator created all type of females with all type of female mentalities. See, black women, you're listening to these European women. Black men, already been there. We listen to these European men, look where it got us. Incarcerated. I'm going to prove to you how. I remember when I was in Germany in 1980. We were monitored. Out of a city like New York, Nuremberg, that's where I was around that area. I didn't live in Nuremberg, but I was around that area. 8 kilometers outside the city of Nuremberg. Now in a city that size, in Germany, you would have maybe like 20 black American male civilians. Okay? So, And it wasn't this serious gender war thing going on like it is now. No, not in America, not here. I mean, not in America, not in Europe. No, that just happened. It started exploding, I think, over the past 10 years. I'm talking about way back in 1980, 1979. It's not that far back. Okay? So, we were monitoring what was going on as soldiers, civilians now, soldiers first and then civilians. We were monitoring what was happening here in America. I was one of the guys who was much different from the guys I was hanging with or had befriended, the civilians, the American civilians, the black American civilians. Usually white males didn't stay in Germany like that. Out of us, it was maybe one or two, and they didn't stay long. They left and came back to America. So one of the things I noticed is that the black family has stopped calling their children European names. I was so proud of that, even while I was over there, because I always been on a path. I always been like a little Malcolm X. I was so proud of that. It was no more Tom and David and Robert, Carl, Peter. No. Black families started naming their children Kwame and Kenya, Keisha. I was like, wow. So the European conqueror was observing that. Now listen to the dialogue. The ones that's in power. Oh, Martha, you know those Negroes are identifying with their roots? We got to break that up. We got to devise a way to break that up. Hence the war on drugs. The CIA got with the drug cartels, and they allowed the drug cartels to bring massive amounts of cocaine into the country. Then they allowed the arms dealer to bring massive amounts of arms into the black community. Heroin too. Back in the 60s, it already had started. But it got real bad in the 80s. There wasn't that many players back in the 70s and 60s. But in the 80s, I'm hearing that it was an epidemic. It was a crack war. I wasn't here, thank goodness. But all of that was to break down. Here, they already know us. The Europeans know us. And when I say Europeans, I don't mean the proletarian European. I don't mean the middle class European. I don't mean the upper middle class or the upper class middle. I mean them wealthy, the ones who are controlling those few families I mentioned before. They know us physically. They know us psychologically. Hell, we showed them. We told them. We taught them who we are, what we're capable of. They even create think tanks just to talk about us. So they said, yeah. And again, on a side note, if you notice, when Europeans shoot, when they go hunting, they just don't go and shoot one bullet and want to kill one thing. They shoot a gun or shoot a weapon. They try to kill multiple things with one weapon. I mean, with one bullet. Check it out. Oh, I've had plenty of time to think about this. Plenty. No, I wasn't locked up. I just like to think about things and see a pattern. It's smart when you see what's going on, but it's wise when you notice a pattern. And I've been noticing a pattern of behavior. I'm interested in that. So anyway, they said, you know, if we let those drugs in, those Negroes, not only will they kill each other off, but they'll be making more money that we've allowed them to make ever. And since they are all brainwashed and conditioned, they won't go build schools or housing complexes or hospitals. No, they'll go do foolishness. They'll mess up their families. They'll go out and buy nonsense like $5,000 spinner rims. You know what they say, that word they call, what's that word they call? Flossing, balling back then, and you did it. Brothers was making 20,000 a day, 50,000. I'm hearing this, 50,000 a day. Here's Rick Ross. Here's Big Meech, Larry Hoover. All these other drug dealers was making millions. And what do they have to show for it now? The plan that the European implemented, that war strategy, worked better than they thought it was. Yes, it worked better, and that's what paved the way to what you see now. Part of that is what paved the way to what you see right now happen in society among black people. Yes. So they systematically broke us down again. See, we think we can outsmart them, and we get caught up, and we end up worse off than what we started, because we lose focus. We haven't retreated. I've said this over and over. We haven't retreated and focused on concentration. So then we can go back into the war and be focused and concentrated. But we haven't done that. We continue to mingle and move around among Europeans, and everything the European is doing is rubbing off on us. There's a group out that I learned back in 1973 called The Last Poets. I got introduced to them by my oldest brother. In one of their spoken words, poems, they say, when the revolution comes, afros will be trying to straighten their heads, and straight heads will be trying to wear afros when the revolution comes. That means blacks will be trying to be white, and whites will be trying to be black. Now look at what's going on. You so-called educated black people act just like Europeans. And you got a lot of Europeans now act just like black people. A European will give a black person rite of passage before a black person will. Ain't that's a shame, ain't it? Don't that make you sick to your stomach? Black people treat black people worse than Europeans do now. But getting back to the point that I was trying to make, or the subject I'm trying to point out, black man, black woman. Sisters, y'all got all the power. All the power. You got more power than the brother, the black man. You got more power than the European man. You got more power than the European woman. You got more power than the Asian. You got more power than the Spanish. But you're sitting there now like a European with all this power. And that's the movie Hancock. Hancock had Will Smith play Hancock. All this power and don't know what to do with it. Just drink. But not literally alcohol. You're drinking the European version of success. That's your alcohol right now. Look at you. Look at you. I mean, this even goes back in olden days, not ancient time, old days of Africa, before there was any other race of people, just black people on the planet. We was already sickened then. That's what I'm saying. And even the last poet said, wherever they go, we were already there. We were there in the mathematics, in science, in art, geography, sailing, flying planes, interstellar travel. We already been there, done that. It's just that most of us black people don't know this, because we're waiting on validation from Europeans. That's the conditioning and the brainwashing, and then kept under perpetual hypnosis. Now, sisters, you don't know what to do with a good man. You don't. You dog them out. Because you flip the script like a European female. She doesn't know what she wants. She never knew what she wanted after her man started beating her down. There was a time when she knew what she wanted, and that's when they had their renaissance. They had kingdoms and everything was flourishing for them. And the European man came and destroyed all of that. Now the power is in your hands, black woman, and you're letting yourself be destroyed. Yes, you're letting yourself be destroyed by going up against your mirror image. European males are not your mirror image. And bump all of that. I've been hearing sisters be like, well, I don't see color. I even heard Christians say, God don't see color. If those kind of that's why I stay to myself. People make so much stupid statements. How God don't see color? If God didn't see color, there would be no color. It's that simple. Stop saying stupidity, stupid stuff. Stuff that don't even make no sense. I think you just say stuff just to be saying stuff. You don't care. You so brainwashed you don't even care if it makes sense or not. And that's what's happening with a lot of these millennials. They be saying stuff with zero experience, just to be saying stuff to have a say-so. What's that saying? It's better to remain silent, and people would think that they won't know about you. I'm not saying this right, but than to open your mouth and say something stupid and remove all doubt. So black women, stop thinking that you all successful because you got degrees and you got these jobs and you making all this fake fiat currency money, and it's all an illusion. Why don't you try going out and seeing a brother that's appealing to you physically, because we all go by what we see first, and go probe this man, this male I should say, and see if he got the character traits you're looking for, and then build him up. A lot of you use the argument, well, I'm not his mother. Why aren't you? You are Mother Earth. See? You thinking like a European. What happened to it takes a village to raise a child? You're just like a European. Oh, I have a PhD and I'm a lawyer and I'm a doctor and you can't compete on my level. I don't want to compete. Why do I need to compete with you when I already know my place being a masculine person? I know that my masculine energy and what it's capable of. The problem with this is that you don't know your femininity and what it's capable of. All you know is European thought, European concepts, and the saddest of all of that is you only know what the Europeans who are in power want you to know. You don't know what they know. You do not know what they know. You're busy fighting me. And that's just what they want. They want you to fight me. They want you to hate me. Because the only way, and this is for you Christians, since you believe Jesus is coming back, how do you think Jesus is coming back? How? Through going to the ocean and getting some sand and some salt water, and then make you an image of a baby in the sand, and then put your mouth on its mouth and blow your breath down into it, and it's going to come alive, right? Yeah, okay, whatever. This is not Hollywood. The way that person is coming back is through the womb. That's how Jesus was born the first time, so that's how he'll come back the next time. I actually don't believe that story, but for those of you who do, so to keep black men and black women, and Jesus was not a European. Let's get that straight. It's already been proven by European scientists. So that's why I'm repeating it. Because if I just would have repeated it and European scientists didn't say it, then you would have been like, oh, that N-I-G-G-E-R, that whatever, however you say that N-word, don't know what he's talking about. So I'm saying this because they're breaking us up to keep that supreme being from coming back, if that's what you believe. See, you're not offering any solutions for the tribe. You've sided with the conqueror. Not all black women, but a large freaking majority of you have, since there are more women in schools now. And remember, black women, they allowed us to go to school. So everything you got I don't care what it is. Material on this planet, you are allowed to get. The only thing that they didn't allow you to get is your God-given inalienable spirit. That's it. As long as if they could get that, it'll be a done deal. We'd be done. Both of us, black men, black women, and Europeans who know or feel that there's something wrong. See, Europeans are at each other's throat. They've been brainwashed by the powers that be, which happens to be Europeans right now. It was so beautiful. I don't know about you and a lot of you out there, but I remember a time in my heart, in my DNA, that between black men and black women, it was so beautiful. It was to walk down the street with a black woman. I mean, she didn't even have to be my woman, my wife, just to walk down the street, just for her to allow me in her presence, made me proud. Now I can't even talk to certain black women because I don't make the same amount of money. I don't look the same. I don't act like they expect me to act. This is all European behavior. I'm telling you, this is European behavior. A lot of you young people in your 30s, early 40s, you may not remember this. You may not have parents who teach you this. You may grew up in a predominantly European neighborhood. So a lot of you just don't remember. And if you do remember, you just swept that under the rug because now you've got the so-called success that you've been told that's success by Europeans. And why I keep mentioning Europeans? Because the facts are, these are facts, that they conquered Africa. And they conquered the rest of the world. And they left their mark on the world. Whatever way you see it, they left their mark on the world. And look at what it has done. Look at what it's doing. I don't see black people uniting right now. We still doing the same dumb stuff that we've been doing for the last 100 years or more. Until we separate ourselves away from Europeans, we're never going to get back to where we're supposed to be. And I'm saying this with confidence. Also, Paul, we're supposed to say, yes, we're supposed to be separated. It was never intended. Now go do this research. It was never intended that we're supposed to be living among each other in harmony. Living together like we've been living was always to keep tension. Why do you think we're in this problem right now? Name me one time in history, herstory, whatever you want to call it, where all cultures lived together and got completely along with each other without no animosity. Name me one time. You're living in Wonderland. This is Wonderland, y'all. And the Mad Hatter, the Wizard of Oz, is pulling the strings. You're not pulling the strings. You think you're pulling the strings, but you're not. And why y'all blaming the president for everything? President Trump this, President Trump that, Obama this, Obama that. The presidents don't never make decisions. Never. As far as I know, America's only had 2 presidents that made decisions on their own, and look what happened to them. They got their brains blowed out. They got assassinated. Lincoln and Kennedy. And Kennedy, they were so vocal that they started killing one brother after the other. Powers that be. They didn't cut the Kennedy family no slack hardly. Wiped all the males out just about. I mean, there's still some. I think Ted Kennedy was one of the survivors. I guess the family was like, come on, Ted. Look, they're killing us off. They're killing the males off. Don't do like your brothers did. We got to keep the Kennedy line going. So black women, stop being black females and become black women. You're queens, literally. So look out among your kingdom. And when I say your kingdom, I don't mean the neighborhood you live in right now. Because I'm quite sure a lot of you affluent, so-called 1% black people, y'all don't live in predominantly black neighborhoods unless you live in a place like Fort Washington, around the Maryland area, where there's a lot of where all of the neighbors are brainwashed, just about. All your neighbors may be black, but they Oreos. Keeping themselves at the top of the food chain, kumbayaing, shucking and jiving with the Europeans, who are knuckleheads, to keep them at the top of the food chain. And all y'all eating out the same bowl, lies and deception, which is not wrong. I don't see that as, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying what it is, because you have every right to do this. Even Obama said it in one of his speeches. If the people are not smart enough or take the responsibility of their own lives, then we're going to take it and do it for them. Something to that effect. I didn't say it verbatim, but that's what he's saying in one of his speeches. And that's how the powers that be think. For everybody who's not conscious of who they are. If you can't govern yourself, they're going to govern you. They're going to govern you for you. Yes. So the only way that the black family is going to get out of this, like I said, is for the black woman to stand up, stop acting like a European, and start offering solutions to the black family. Until you do that, black men are just going to be wandering around. I think there's some movement I just found out. This movement is going on for a while, but I'm slow catching on, called the MGTOW, MGTOW, men that go their own way or something like this. That's not the solution either. No, brothers, don't be running away from these sisters. Hold them accountable. I don't go out enough or mingle enough in society to meet sisters who think they better. I met one. I'm going to tell you this story and I'm going to get off. I met this sister and she's college educated. Actually, she's a friend of the family. So we found interest in one another and we started dating, okay? So she's this real deceptive word I explained to you before in another video. Independent. There's no such thing as independent, nothing, okay? She's one of these so-called independent black women, right? She had a young daughter, which at the time I didn't mind. So she wasn't the cleanest of individuals. So I met her at a time where she went on vacation, where she was getting ready to go on vacation. So we had hooked up, everything was all right. She said, Paul, could you do me a favor? I was like, what? She said, can you take care of my house while I'm gone? I was like, sure. She had a two-family house. Tenants on the first floor, she lived on the second. And if you're out there, sister, I ain't gonna mention your name, and you hear this, you should step forward and confirm this. Like the men say, woman up. Okay? If you think you're a woman up about this, because I'm not lying. Anyway, so she said, you can use my car too, because at the time I didn't have a car. I was like, bet, no problem. I ain't gonna drive it much because I ain't got that much. I just go to work and I catch the public transportation. So I dropped her off at the airport. I said, I'm gonna surprise her. So what I did was go into her house and clean everything. I mean, I don't want to get into the level of filth that I saw. So to make a long story short, I ended up buying this for the house and that for the house, bathroom stuff for the bathroom. And keep in mind now, she's been working for the company she's working for. She's by no stretch of the word broke. No, she's doing very well. Has her own property, investment property. So she wasn't broke, or no, by no means. Okay, so I took my money, and she's making more than me, and I said, okay, I'm a surprise. I cleaned everything, organized everything, as much as I could do in a week's time and work. Okay, the day came, I went, picked her up from the airport, took her home. She says, she walks in the house. I put my hands over her eyes. I say, I got a surprise for you. So I put my hands over her eyes, I think, and we walked her in the house. And I took my, first thing she said, now I got all this work to do. That was her first reaction. Because everything wasn't really back the way it was, but it was clean. All she had to do was put this back here and put that back there, and I said, I'll help you, right? But the majority of it was done. So, upon hearing that, I just got my coat and left. Cussing her out in my mind the whole way. This inappreciative B-I-C-T-H, right? Okay. The next day, I think it was, she called me. The timeline might not be right, but the story is right. Next day or two, she called me. She said, Paul, I want to talk to you. I was like, okay, what's up? She said, no, I got to tell you this in person, face to face. So I went and met her. She said, you know, I apologize. I just didn't know how to respond to that. No man has ever done that to me before. I even went as far as to call my father and talk to my father and told him what you had done. You know what she said, her father said? She said, you got a real man. You got a real man. So she said that, and I was like, okay, and she just was stunned. She was shocked. And I was like, well, isn't this what you're looking for? So after that day, I thought the relationship was going to get better, but it didn't. That old mentality of hers came back, this independent black woman, and a lot of stuff I was trying to explain to her, you don't know what you're talking about, and you didn't go to college, and how can you know this, and that kind of mentality. I just left her alone. I left her alone because it was a spell on her. And this, to me, this is a hurting thing. And what I mean is, when I meet a black woman and I see she's under hypnosis, she's been conditioned and brainwashed, and she's under hypnosis, one of the first things I seek to do is break that hypnosis. But the Europeans got some serious kung fu, man. They, you know, years and years of programming, it's almost like unbreakable. It's breakable, but I just don't possess the power to break it. Not in every case. Put it this way. I think I do break it, but not at the moment. It has to sink in with a lot of people that I talk to. It got to be like a year or two. Because what I talk about, I notice the pattern is that I talk about life, like I'm talking to you now. And a lot of people won't get it at first. But as they keep going forward with their lives, they'll see that, wow, he said that. I mean, there's other people out there like that too. Wow, so-and-so said that. So-and-so said that. So with her, I just left her alone. I would see her, once I got my car, I would see her driving around, but I would never acknowledge her again because it's just too much pain there for me. I don't want to have to keep dealing with somebody who's not ready to wake up. I gave you the information. It's up for you. It's up to you to wake up yourself. So, black females, look out among the village. and start offering solutions. Not just thinking you made it, so the next person got to make it. That's not the attitude to have. If you have the power to control and to convert the thing that you hate the most back, you've become, I said this before, you've become the thing you hate. An ignorant black male. That's what you've become. You just got breasts and a vagina. You become you become a female male chauvinist. That's what you've become. And that's why they say don't seek revenge. Revenge is a double-edged sword, or a dish served cold. I think that's how the saying is. You become the thing you hate. Look at you. Look at yourself in the mirror. And stop telling people you're looking for a good man, because you're not. You're not looking for no good man. You're looking for a male that's going to fit what you need at the moment. And then a month, 2 months down the road, you didn't change because you're on TV listening to these Europeans and these dumb programs. Instead of finding the male you want, inspire him, lift him up to build your empire. And if you're going to kick him to the side, treat him with respect in doing it. I have no problem building for a female. She don't have to dog me out to get me to build stuff for her. Treat me nice. Treat me with respect like I'm a human being. Charm me. Take the time and charm me. You don't have to lie and deceive me. I'll be glad. Like I said, it took me 57, 58 years to realize what the female is about. And y'all are like 360 degrees different than what the sisters of old were about. I want to meet them sisters. The sisters of old. The real women. See me, I work hard, I work smart. I got a little bit of wisdom from my mom and my pop, my grandmother, my grandfather. I've been back to Africa more than 3 times. Different countries, been all through Europe. So I think I got credentials. And no, I don't have a degree. So if you come to me and you're talking about, well, I have it, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit how many degrees you got on your wall. I don't give a shit about the job you got. I don't give a shit about your clothing. I don't give a shit about how your booty shaped and all the breast rack, all of that. That's so, and it ain't because I'm older. It's because I'm wiser. I'm an old soul. Yes, I'm an old soul. So if you see me, step to me with some nonsense, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to shake my head. Because I see you as a product of a European. And you're a POW like we all are. Until we leave away from Europeans and start to do our thing. You don't see giraffes hanging with elephants. Like Muhammad Ali said. You don't see pelicans hanging with eagles. There's nothing wrong with being with our own kind. That's another brainwashing. Why you want to separate? When a European says that to me now, that means they need me. Makes me feel good. And that gives me the motivation to want to get away from them even more. Now, not all Europeans are bad. But if you don't respect me, Europeans, because I want to be around my own kind, hell, I don't even know my own tribe, my own language. But you know that you're part French and part German, right? And I don't have a right to ask that. You know, with your diversity and inclusion, you can shove it. Because you're hypocrites. You are hypocrites. You want me to respect you, your gender and all that crap, but you don't respect me with my crap. Powers that be just want us to fight. So come to my house. Seek me out. I'll let you kill me so I can get the hell away from you. Yes. When I'm gone, my body is gone, you don't even have the courage to follow. No, because your body is so caught up in this material world, whereas I'm ready to leave. I am. So do me the honors. Do me the honors. It's my pleasure that you take me out. Because I know I don't belong here. How I got here is a whole different story. But I don't belong here among you. Most of you know. Because you're primitive. You have primitive thinking. And yes, I called you primitive. Look at you. Killing each other over paper. You call it money, but it's just paper. Killing each other over gold, which is worthless. The only worth that gold has is to protect you from UV rays. And most of you don't go that close to the sun. So what you need gold for? Wear it around you. It's another brainwashing. Kill me over diamonds. Killing each other over diamonds is to break down the prism of light. And each color has its own vibration. That's what we used to use that for. So we can see and do things with those vibrations. No, we got conned and duped and brainwashed and conditioned to think that those rocks on the ground are worth someone's life. Oh, let's go and kill somebody for that. You're fools. Fools. You're fools. So sisters, do yourselves a favor so you don't have to incarnate back here. Go help the communities. You got all this money and everything. Band together and go get you some land and start building housing complexes, schools and hospitals, and then sell it or rent it out to your own kind who are prosperous. Teach us to be prosperous since you made it. No, you can't do that, can you? Because you're too brainwashed. You're under hypnosis and you're a sad sight. So like I say in the end of my videos, I hope this has helped some of you realize what's going on. And brothers, don't run from these sisters. Call them out. Hold them accountable. A lot of you brothers got knowledge. When you see a sister and she's trying to act better than you, tell her about herself. She's just a POW. You don't have to cuss her out. You don't have to disrespect her. Just let her know that she was allowed to be where she at right now. Oh, her argument will be, well, I worked hard for, we all work hard for when we want something. All of us. Doesn't matter the color of your skin, doesn't matter your gender, where you came from. When you want something, you will work hard for it. So that's nothing special. I don't give a praise, I don't appraise somebody or give somebody a slap on the back for givens. Hard work is a given. I work 2 jobs and will work 3 jobs if I can. Anybody who know me will tell you I'm a working man. I work. As long as I'm physically able to work, I will work. And I get 4 or 5 hours of sleep a day. I'm trying to break it down where I don't have to sleep. Never. So I constantly be building something. I like to build stuff. Anybody knows me know that. I work on my own car when I can. I remodel my own house when I can. Whatever I can do, I don't pay people to do it. I do it myself. My mother taught me, when you want something done, do it yourself. So all I got to do is go online right now, go get me a book, and if I need to know how to do something, I do it. So stop with the BS. Stop fooling yourself. You can run from everybody else, but you can't run from self.